Oh yeah, the classic article. Let's do that while this group fills up. Talk about this. So it looks like there was an article that, or an interview that Forbes had. Turbo19, appreciate the follow. By the way, if any of you guys are new here, I would appreciate it if you guys want to follow. If you guys like the channel, if you guys like the content, if you guys like me, feel free to follow. If you don't like me, tell me to F off. It's totally fine too. It's up to you. All right, so. The World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth expansion is going to bring an island. Here, let's do this. Island will bring island dungeons that change every time you enter them. And a host of cute things. Okay, lame. I don't care. Battle for Azeroth goes on pre-sale today. Players who pre-order get some in-game features immediately. Don't miss our new story on the pre-sale and our other interview with game director Ian Hazakostas and creative director Alex Afrasiabi. So I'm assuming this is an interview with J. Allen Brack that occurred today based on this. I'm assuming. Let's talk about classic servers. Shocked to hear that it's going to be a conversation point for us. So timetable, is this still a soon kind of situation? Soon with a capital S? We think it's a good idea, but there are no humans involved in the project yet. He says there are humans involved. We know that. We know that they've hired people. People will be glad to hear it. But it's a larger endeavor than I think people can imagine. It's a huge technical challenge. Can you talk about the reasons for that? Brack says, sure. If you imagine, the biggest one is the way that the database works today and the way that it worked in 2004. It's extremely difficult. The way the servers are laid out and work today is very different than in 2004. Josh Nasty, appreciate the follow. Couldn't read that on my alerts. Great. The game doesn't even, the old code doesn't even build, right? The compiler hardware has changed, computers have moved on, there are new operating systems, new things. A lot of the old database and operating systems aren't even supported anymore. Those are 13 years old at this point. Oracle isn't standing in line to rebuild them for you. They have this modern version that they're eager for us to use, but the old one not so much. So talk about then the process that you guys are having to go through for actually making that happen. You're essentially resurrecting dead technology and dead data. Rex says yes. Trying to put it back together. Clearly, there were discussions, at least at one point, with some of the folks in the player community, completely, totally, that had attempted to or had done the same thing. Was there assistance there? Are there things that you're able to do in-house now where you have the task list to say, these are the things we have to walk through to get this done? We're beginning that. There's a lot of different things we can do in terms of how we get there from where we are to where we want to be. We haven't made all the decisions by any stretch of the imagination. There's a lot of decisions to make. One of the reasons to announce probably maybe a little bit earlier to the community, we actually want to partner with them a little bit. We want to hear their feedback in terms of the direction this should go. If you think about it, there were 2 years in between the launch of World of Warcraft and the release of Burning Crusade. A lot of things changed in there. Spoiler alert, by the way, for a future Classic Cast episode. What should we shoot for? My favorite example for this is Upper Blackrock Spire. There was a 10-person version and a 5-person version for most of that 2-year period. But toward the end, we decided, no, UBRS is going to be a 5-person, and we're going to retune it to be appropriate for that. Is that the right decision? I don't know. These are the types of questions. There's a lot of questions like that we'll be talking about the community. That's not true. I think it was 15. It was 15 and 10. This didn't happen. This is fake news. This is not real. This is false. This is wrong. This is incorrect. Let's talk about some of the bigger decisions, which may or may not have been made. Are we talking about WoW in its original pristine pixely glory? Are we talking remastered, something that's built for the modern engines that Legion and Battle for Azeroth are using? That's a decision that is in front of us. Talking about graphics update, looks like. I think my starting place is that the compass heading should try to be to recreate the original 2004-2005 experience. That's the compass heading that we should be following, but there's a lot of nuance there. Should we be using the high-definition character models? That's an interesting question. I think that the community will help us decide. That would essentially require you to rebuild them, right? Because we don't necessarily have high-def character models that aren't the revamped versions of the characters. Correct. Okay, this is important. Correct. What I mean is, would we allow those to work in the old... Okay, as opposed to somehow trying to recreate the block layer look, but with the correct. Okay. This is something that I was saying that they should do. I've talked about this before. I said if they wanted to update the models, or the graphics, right? And they kept the models the same as they are in vanilla WoW, but they increased the resolution of the textures. Like, for example, let's hit the transmog. Increase the resolution of the textures. I would be totally fine with that. In fact, I think that might even be a good thing. Now, either way, I don't really mind. I don't really care, honestly, at that point, because the models are the same. It's just that the resolution of the textures are higher, which makes a lot of sense because everybody's playing. There are very few, and I would say less than 0.5% of people, that even that might be high, that are gaming, are going to be gaming on a like 480p monitor. Everybody's doing 1080p. Everybody's on an HD screen now, right? And that's why whenever you look at old videos, like old WoW videos from like Burning Crusade, from vanilla, excuse me, they look terrible, right? And it's because it was optimized for like an old CRT monitor. That nice, sexy, sleek 4x3, 360p, 200-pound monitor. That's what it was for, right? So if they go, does anybody else want to join us? So if they go and just make the models a little bit cleaner, right? Kind of like, look, kind of like what they did here with the season 3 set. That looks like a pretty clean texture to me, right? I don't think they did that with the Shattered Sun tabard. I don't think. But like, if we go, let's look at the Stormpike tabard. Are all the tabards like that? Let's look. Do I have a newer tabard? More new tabard. Yeah, okay. So look, this is like a more new tabard. This is a higher resolution tabard than the Shattered Sun tabard that I had. Like that's very clearly a higher resolution than this guy. You see that? The Burning Crusade tabard. I would not be opposed to that, honestly.
I foresee a mutually beneficial transaction.
I think it could be mutually beneficial as well. Warp Reaver Tuvis. Get back to the interview here. What are some of the other decision-making challenges that you're facing for the classic servers? I think we want to make sure that it's very maintainable. Aladance, what's up, dude?
2 months, baby.
There you go. There you go. Two Red Bulls for 2 months. Appreciate that, dude. I think we want to make sure that it's very maintainable. I think the challenge of us being able to resurrect Classic WoW in its original form, it has a certain amount of complexity. But that game was very difficult to manage. It would be effectively like us managing 2 MMOs. I agree with that, which is not something we want to do. The world has moved on. If you think about the infrastructure, if you think about anything, that's a really good cooking. There's a really good cooking analogy. There's no way to remove the oregano from the spaghetti sauce. You just put the oregano in, and now how do we deal with it? Dude, what are you talking about, dude? Nobody freaking knows what you're talking about. Come on. Stupid. Given all the technical challenges, and the fact that, as you point out, Live to Win 69, getting ready to kill some boars, appreciate the follow. Given all the technical challenges and the fact that, as you point out, the world has moved on, this is now potentially a static game in an industry where you've created this dynamically evolving monster. Why do it? You've been on the fence for a long time. I think there's 3 big reasons. We've talked about this for many years. We've talked about this for many years. 1, the community has spoken very clearly that there's a certain percentage, some number of people that are really interested in what this is going to be. Internally, I have my job because of Classic WoW. There's a lot of people who have a lot of love for that. A lot of employees who love Classic WoW. There's an internal group of people who are interested as well. And the third thing, this is a game that has had a lot of people play it and a lot of commentary around it. And you can't actually play it at a Blizzard quality today, and that's kind of disappointing. That's kind of sad. If you take all that, and that's all the reasons to kind of do it, now we have an idea for how we can minimize the technical complexity. We have a path that we think we can be successful with. I like that. There's a 4th reason for that too, that he didn't mention. That you're going to make a crap ton of cash because you're bringing back Classic WoW. He left that part out. I guarantee you're going to make a crap ton of money. What led to that decision? Was it a brainstorming session where somebody said we could do this? Was it a chatting with some of the classic player communities? It was internal discussions, and it was kind of thought about how we can move forward technically in a way that is not us managing 2 MMOs. So back to number 4 there. They want it to where you're going to make a crap ton of cash, and you're not really going to have to do much to touch it once it's done. Maybe. I do hope they go with the OSRS route, but that's a different discussion. Anyway. And so, the thing that we're going to try to do is to run the Classic WoW on what we think of as the modern WoW infrastructure. That's completely transparent to the user. The user doesn't see how the server is organized. The user doesn't see how the database works. But that's a huge part of the how do we think we can actually do this now. I always joke with folks at the anniversary celebration for Warcraft, where the large raid dungeon Molten Core reopened and the folks got the chance to run through that dungeon again, that was the ultimate Blizzard developer revenge for all the players who said vanilla original WoW was the best. And then you show up and it takes 500 hours and everybody's killing the raid by doing really stupid things. There are mechanics that drive people insane. That was without having to buff people every 5 minutes. 15, come on, patch 1.9, hello. Paladins did get a buff. They got a little bit of a rework. You gotta melt this core. Wait, who's Jeremy Fiesel? Has this guy not said anything the entire time and just chimed in with like a random stupid comment? Okay, this guy literally, Jeremy Fiesel, was totally out of the conversation the entire time and was just kind of like, hey, I need to say something because I'm just sitting here. Gotta melt those core hounds. Puh. Shut up, dude. Unbelievable. Exactly. The question I have is, clearly in that case, you had players who may have at one point in time said, WoW was better in vanilla and it was the best content ever. And then they got back into this raid again and went, holy crap, this is terrible. Do you worry that there's a subset of folks who want classic servers? Who said that, by the way? Nobody? I think it was nobody who said that. Come on. Stand up. Be a man. Okay. Do you worry that there's a subset of folks who want classic servers and then they get back on a classic server and realize, wait, this is not the way I remember it? Because that fresh new this was the first time I ever saw WoW kind of excitement, or the joy of meeting new friends in a game for the first time, or whatever it was that made them excited about WoW to begin with when it originally launched, that may or may not be there when they go back to the remastered servers. Brack says, I got into trouble a few years ago. I said something. This is something that you think you want, but you don't. That was a poor move. Poor move. I wouldn't have moved the chess piece there.
It's like a chess player, grandmaster.
I wouldn't have done that.
Against a checkers child.
And what I was trying to say with that is sort of exactly what you're encapsulating, which is nostalgia is a thing, rose-colored glasses are a thing, human brains are not designed to remember pain. And so you remember the good things, you don't remember the pain, and I didn't do a great job of communicating that sentiment, right? Clearly. People didn't embrace that. It's weird. I do think that there will be those people exactly like you're talking about. That's okay. And I also think that there's this group of people for whom that this is the game to them. This is their refuge. That's their time that they want to return to, and that's the game that reminds them of that time, and that's the community experience they want to have. How big is it? I have no idea. I have no idea. There's no way to know. But we're convinced through the desire of those folks, the desire of our internal folks, and the desire to preserve what WoW was, that this is the right decision. What a lot of people ignore when they talk about nostalgia, and don't get me wrong, nostalgia is definitely a thing. It is absolutely a thing whenever you're talking about WoW Classic, when you're talking about vanilla, when you're talking about walking into the gates of Iron Force the first time, and you hear this song, right? You walk into the gates of Iron Forge for the first time, right? You're hearing this song. You're looking around, people are running from the bank to the auction house to the mailbox. You got the RPers standing on the bridge, and you're like, dude, what is happening? What are all these people? You got somebody standing there on the wheelbarrow right next to the repair guy, advertising, This is Esfand's enchanting shop. Come here for all your enchanting needs. I have almost every enchant in the game except for +4 stats, even though I rated MC for 10 months. And for some reason, I don't have +4 stats yet. And you see this community, and you see these people, right? And yes, there's a certain amount of nostalgia of whenever you go back to that, that's gonna be something really cool. But what a lot of people don't realize is that, hey, vanilla WoW was a well-designed game. The actual design of the game was incredible. Sure, it had its problems, don't get me wrong, but it was like nothing people had ever seen before. It took the MMO genre and skyrocketed it. People had been playing Daok, people had been playing EverQuest, people had been playing RuneScape, but it wasn't anything like WoW. The way they designed the game was amazing. And I do think if you really wanted to, right, and I don't think they should do this is not what I think they should do, but if you were to take vanilla WoW at its core and tweak some things here and there, make some changes, you could make the ultimate MMO. You really could. And I don't think that that's what they can do with WoW Classic, don't get me wrong. But like in this, like a hypothetical World of Warcraft 2 would be amazing. Right? You could make World of Warcraft 2, and that's not what I'm saying. This is a working title, right? Where you have similar design concepts for how the game had begun, how the game had started, and just tweak some stuff here and there, right? Like updating the graphics, making a slight change here, making a slight change there, to really fix the very, very minor issues that vanilla WoW had. I think that would be incredible. And like K-Field said, it was made by people who were heavily influenced by other MMOs. It was made by gamers. My guy's getting freaking tired. Stand up, dude. Come on. And that's something that I think has changed. I think that's something that has changed. I mean, he even mentions that there's a lot of people internally, right? There's a lot of people internally who love Vanilla WoW and they want Classic WoW. And that was a big part of their decision making as well. I don't think, right? I don't think, personally, that you're getting hardcore gamers I don't think that you're getting like hardcore gamers, guys like Jeff Kaplan, who was like big time EverQuest guy. I don't think those are the kind of guys you're getting in the companies, in the decision room anymore. I don't think that happens quite as often. Right? You're getting guys who are... They're getting freaking degrees. They're getting freaking educations. I don't want education. I want experience. That's what we need. We need the guys who go in and they're used to grinding. They're used to freaking working their butts off, getting their hands dirty, getting into those raids, and learning about the game firsthand. And we just don't have that. We don't have that quite as much anymore. Right? And like I said, my main point here, the core of what I'm trying to say here, is that the design of the game was good. And that's something that people don't talk about enough. Everybody wants to point to nostalgia. Everybody wants to point at, you know, rose-tinted glasses, whatever. But when it comes down to it, the design of the game was good. And people need to realize that. Anyway, the interviewer, Newman, says, talk to me a bit about islands as a system in Battle for Azeroth. R word. Oh my gosh, she said the R word? Hold on. They're dungeon encounters that can change every time you enter them. One thing I had started to ask Ian Hazzikostas was just how dynamic that landscape and the population of that landscape were going to be. Was more or less of a framework in terms of there's usually buildings here, they could be different kinds of buildings with different kinds of people in them, or was it purely random roguelike constructed the moment you walked in? I don't really want to get into this stuff because I don't know that much about Battle for Azeroth and Legion enough to talk about it. So let's see if they talk about any more classic stuff. Let's see if they talk about any more classic stuff here. Legion. Why is there lag when I'm... What is this page? Freaking Forbes, man. Are you trying to mine Bitcoin off my computer? Battle for Azeroth. Dude, this is super slow, this website. I guarantee you Forbes is freaking trying to mine Bitcoin on my computer. And now they're talking about battle pets. Okay. Cat jokes. Beazle coming in with a worthless comment again. Babies for Azeroth. Come on, dude. Unbelievable. Papa Bix. What's up, man? What is up? Okay, I mean, that's pretty much it. Just the first half of the interview was about classic, it looks like. That was pretty good. Got a little bit of insight there. If you guys want to go read that for yourselves, here, let me... that That was from Johan. Appreciate that, dude. That was a good read, actually. That was a real good read. There you guys go. If you guys wanna learn business and Warcraft, click that link. Forbes.